Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. It's Wednesday, so you know I'm always going to be in my truck, going to pick up groceries or whatever I'm doing on Wednesday. But there's plenty to talk about today, and that's I'll talk about talking about things in a moment. But I'm going to talk about three main things today, which is I'm going to talk about rents going up. I'm going to talk about supply chains and Amazon, and what was the other one? Oh, banking. We're going to talk about banking because that's where I'm heading again today. So, a couple things. First off, welcome to the show. Really appreciate you stopping by. Please like and subscribe. That's really helpful to the channel. And one other thing, like if you've already liked, subscribed, shared, done all that, that's fantastic. If you still want to support the channel, which is great, I really appreciate that. Please watch an extra video. I add some extra videos up at the top here, try to make them relevant. But picking up an extra video or two will help the channel right now because we're almost at the point where the channel can be monetized. We just need a couple more views and we're there. So anything, if you've already established and like the channel, like the content, want to share, just to get a refresher, click on one of those. So it's Wednesday where I'm semi-live doing a top of mind stream of consciousness while I'm driving to where we got to be next. And one of the questions that people are asked, like, or you ask yourself of a YouTuber, is like, how do you get all the content? How do you manage this? How do you manage your time? How do you put out a video every day? Well, truth be told, sometimes I shoot a couple at a time, much like Economic Ninja does, because I learned from him. He's a very smart guy. He knows to shut his phone off too when he's in the car. Come on. Apologies there. All right, focusing as I roll up on a red light. I can take these off for a moment. We're going to talk about rent, supply chain, and banking in a moment. I talked about the views. Last thing, as far as housekeeping, as you know, I'm talking to myself here in the car. I'll be probably recording with myself for the next article for already doing, I think, the April content. It's hard to keep a track because we get ahead. But CryptoConfidential, I'll be recording an article on Nexo and lending and why I choose Nexo and why and what Nexo is best for. I know it's very timely. That may be discussed tonight on my AMA for Patreons, and want to point that out for my Patreons. Once a month I do an AMA. Tonight is 7:30 Eastern. If you join the $20 level, have at it. We'll be there. Come on, drop by your question. If you can't even make it, you can leave a question as a comment. So, well, I always try to take care of everybody however I can, wherever I can, and some of a lot of the stuff on Patreon is more towards being prepared for whatever is coming. And Joanna and I are adding a lot of content there, so please consider joining that. Even at the $5 level, you get a lot of content. The $20 level is just for the AMA. That's entirely up to you. Now, digging into the three stories that I wanted to cover today as traffic picks up. First one is rents, and that's the title of this one. And I share a lot of resources. Sometimes I share videos up here that aren't even mine. And I won't share this one because it was a lengthy one, but Cryptos Are Us, George, we are all George. That's a great channel. He does 2 or 3 streams a day, which is crazy. I don't know how his family can handle that, but be it as it may, he does a great job. And he posted a very interesting story from Yahoo News yesterday, or maybe the day before. I think it was yesterday. They blend together. The story was about rents going up across the U.S. and the story says that rents on average are going up 20%. Hold on a second. Let me close that up so I can drop. We're dropping the wind. There we go. Okay, so rents are going up 20% on average across the country. And a couple of pieces of advice if you're a renter or a lessee, some things to think about, no matter what you consider. But I'm currently renting, and I know a lot of people are currently renting, and that may come as a surprise for some people newer to the channel, as I used to do real estate. But right now I think the market is way too overheated, and that's not where I want to invest my capital. I don't want the sunk costs of buying a property, no matter if I can get it relatively cheaply, which I think there'll be deals the next couple, 2-3 years, very much so. And I also think that I don't want to be tied down in any particular geographic area for many reasons. So for those reasons, I'm not a buyer, I'm a renter. And I was expecting a rent increase. My rent is about to, I've almost been here a year now. My rent's about to jump up because it's a property manager, but they called me and it was a significant increase. It was like, it wasn't quite 20%, but it was getting close. So let me give you some words of advice as a former real estate investor and I know property managers, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have rent concerns, especially millennials, but anyone of any age that's renting is going to have these concerns. So first off, if you have a property manager, you have to negotiate with your property manager, but you want to talk to them and just say, look, I understand that there's that there's costs that need to trickle down, but let's try this. And this is what I was able to do. I was able to put in a 2-year lease, but with a 2-year lease, this is an important clause. You want to say, I want a double-sided option, which means that they have the right to say yes, and you have the right to say yes for the second year. Basically, it's a throwaway year. If you know sports contracts, that's very, very common to do it that way. So that's one thing that you can consider doing. The second thing that's out there as an option, as I'm trying to remember where I'm going. Okay, all right, it clicked back in. I think I know where I'm going now. Running a lot, going to multitasking, doing a lot of different locations today. The other thing that you could consider doing is like if you get a 2-year option, right? If you get that, just say like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Landlord, or if you're doing this with a landlord, or if you're doing this with a property manager, just say, look, I know the cost. It's going to cost you about a month of turnover, a month's rent in turnover if you have to get a new tenant, get the place empty, cleaned, ready for the next tenant. That's about a month of lost income. Plus, there's no telling what kind of quality tenant you're going to have. So, and I know I've had good, bad, and ugly as far as tenants when I used to do that. So there's value in being a good tenant. So even if it's not monetary, and again, sorry, I will mute that at some point. A lot of alarms to remind me what I'm doing today, but you can negotiate with your landlord, and you negotiate with the property owner or the property manager. Go for the 2-year lease, get the double-sided option, which basically nullifies the second year. It doesn't really matter. But on paper, what people are looking for is property owners. They want to get that extra 20% for their value of their property. They have bills too. So what you can do is say, I will pay the full amount, maybe even go a little bit higher. And I'm just going to pick a number. I'm going to say like your rent is $3,000. Just say you're going from $2,700 to $3,000, over a 10% increase. You could say property manager or owner, I will agree to the $3,000. You may start there. You agree to $3,000, but I want that in my year 2. In year 1, what I'd really like to have and would really help me out is if we can do, if you meet me halfway. So instead of jumping right to $3,000 for that particular timing, you get like a halfway in between. So you get $3,000, and then you get halfway in between. So you get $2,700 now. They want $3,000. Say I'll give you $2,850, meet you halfway, and then go back with $3,000 for the second year. That way they get to put $3,000 on their paperwork and just say, yes, this property will rent for $3,000. We have a signed contract that says that, but you get to cushion the blow of that increase and kind of spread it over 2 years. Now, it may not always work, but bring up those points of you've got the value of the property manager, or I'm sorry, of being a good tenant and no turnover. That has value. Okay, other stories. I'm probably gonna have to pause here because I'm running. This video's gonna run a little long. Sorry for that. But let me pause here, and get back to my second the next 2 pieces of news for today that I wanted to talk about. Hang in there. And we're back for the second part of today's episode, which is the 2 other stories I wanted to touch on, which were banking and also supply chain. And this goes back to Amazon. These are both personal experiences. First off, banking. Again, I'm not a huge prepper, but when the vultures are circling, you don't need to know that something is dead underneath to actually see it. You know that's where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm doing a little bit more preparation work. I'm going to the bank, and I'm just going to get some smaller bills just in case. Maybe get some coins as well. Just not financial advice, but just being prepared just in case, playing what if with myself, and to say, what if ATMs are shut down, banks are closed, banking holiday, can't get coins or whatnot. May as well have a bunch of them on hand. So that's just good sound advice there. Second thing, this is the supply chain thing. I recently ordered a new computer to set up a better studio for myself. And I've been working on that, and I expected the computer this week, and didn't happen. And now I'm hearing stories where people are there's a lot of supply chain issues as well as far as getting things, but there's also a black market starting to happen, a black market effect where packages aren't arriving and then they're sold on the black market, because where there's opportunity, some people will be take advantage of it for better or worse, and this is the worst side. So if I don't know what happened to my computer. I ordered, it was supposed to be here by yesterday, did not happen, so ordering it again. Amazon took care of me, but at some point I'm hearing this is happening a lot. So at some point Amazon's going to either change but first they will do a policy change. That will be the red flag. When the policy change is about shipping or lost items or whatever, when they make some sort of policy change, their bottom line is being impacted too much. And when that starts to happen, then you've got real supply chain issues. So I'm piecing all these things together, doing a little prep work, just getting some things again to be more prepared. But think about your own supply chain right now. And between now and March 1st, I really would say take action on it. Get your stuff together. Get as much as you can. Get as if for nothing else, buy non-perishable items that are going to be cheaper now than when the prices go up, because they are going to be going up the next couple of weeks, because there's certain group of drivers that are not going to be available in the US for about the next week and a half or two. So that may cause, so they'll exacerbate, they will make worse, just to mansplain it for you, but it will exacerbate the issues. It will make things worse for supply chain. Like if you think the shelves are a little short stocked now, just wait until we have thousands of people not driving and bringing you your stuff. So keep all that in mind. Start piecing all this together between now and March 1st, where I believe that the certain guy that's allegedly in charge is giving a speech in DC. So keep all that in mind. Between now and then is probably the time to really pay attention to the international news and channels like this, where we can talk about it more. And again, if you want to talk about it more, either join CryptoConfidential, where we talk about it every day in the forums, or join the Patreon, and we'll talk about it tonight. We can talk about the Nexo, what are my thoughts are there, talk about supply chains, talk about rent, talk about any of those things. So lots said today, lots going on. I'm trying to keep up as best I can, and putting out the content as much as I can, and also getting stuff done. So you can only imagine how much that, how impactful everything going on in the world is, and trying to keep everything afloat and just keep all those plates spinning. So I'm sure you have your own plates. I'm sure you have plenty going on in your life, but take a little bit of time. When I used to be a project manager, planning up front can save you a lot on the back end. So plan a little bit, write a list of things that you need to accomplish, figure out 3 or 4 today, maybe 5, put them on a list, go out and knock some done, get them done. Just get a few things done. You don't have to, the list, one of the most freeing things I ever had, and I think this goes back to my time management, another video to post up here, but you're never gonna finish your list. The list will always grow, and that's okay, because there will always be something to do. I'm worried when there's nothing to do. That's an issue. I'm like, then I won't have anything to talk about, but maybe I'm sipping margaritas on a beach somewhere, and maybe Vanuatu, who knows. But let's just see. I've given you a lot to think about. What are your thoughts on rent? What are your thoughts on the supply chain? And how would you handle your own rent situation? Do #rent down below. Think about joining me on the other platforms. But in the meantime, I'm glad you're here. So thanks again. Watch another video for me, and I'm going to close the drawer in the bureau. Say follow the leader one more time, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.